Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central. I am Gil Ingles, and with me today in the studio, yes, ladies and gentlemen, is one of Houston's one true diasporan producer, music producer, studio owner, keyboard player. This man has got mad fingers. They can definitely slam those keys. An arranger and vocalist if necessary. Chuks. Welcome to Diaspora Central.
Hey, I appreciate it, Gil. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, man. How have you been?
Hey, been good. I'm an esteemed company.
Yeah,
of guests who've been on the show, so I appreciate it.
Indeed, man. It's always a pleasure to have I would say fellow producers and musicians and arrangers here. You are busy, man.
I try to stay busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps me out of trouble.
Right.
Keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, I don't blame you because I do exactly the same thing. As a matter of fact, that's probably the reason why I kind of tend to sit out here quite often.
Yep.
Less trouble will catch me here than you'll catch me out there.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. But we're going to have a very good conversation today, man. We're going to talk a little bit about you and your upbringing and your inspirations and aspirations and what's been up with Chuks. That's all part of this conversation. Are you ready for it?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
so
sir.
let's go ahead and get ourselves started, man. Chuks, place of birth.
So I was born in Nigeria, born in Owerri to be specific,
Mm-hmm.
on the southern side, Imo State.
Okay.
Yeah, Nigeria's home.
Yeah.
Nigeria's.
So that would make you part of what tribe?
So I'm Igbo.
Okay.
Parents' village is Afikpo. So whenever we go back, it's to there. And my grandmother still stays out there in the village. Yeah.
So and I'm gonna try to dig in a little bit. Yeah, because so how old were you when you left Nigeria?
6.
Okay.
So pretty young.
But you have been back quite a few times.
Yeah. So
since.
the last time I went back was 2012.
Okay.
We were supposed to.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. We're going back this year for my grandma's 80th.
Oh wow.
But
yeah.
it's
wow.
been. It's because usually we go as a family. I have a family of 5.
Okay.
So trying to take the family, like get everyone's schedules. To,
Right. So it's basically both parents and 3 children.
Mm-hmm. 2
Okay.
parents, 3 kids.
Yeah. What do you fit on that lineup of the children?
The oldest kid.
You're the oldest.
Oldest
oh,
child.
Okay, so you're the man with the responsibility. You gotta hold it down.
Oh man, yeah, I got to show them how to grind. Yeah.
Now, was your I guess your move directly from Nigeria to the States, or did you stop anywhere else prior to?
No, yeah,
to the States?
it was directly from Nigeria to Michigan first.
Okay.
Then we were in Michigan for a couple of years.
Yeah.
In Indiana.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we lived up north.
So you've been on north, midwest. I get Midwest,
yeah.
north, center, U.S. pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no ocean around.
No, that we had Lake.
Well, you had the
Michigan.
lakes.
We had Lake Michigan.
Yeah, you had the lakes.
That was cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but Michigan is a pretty nice state, especially in the spring.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold in the winter. Every time
Yeah.
else it's pretty good.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, it's pretty nice in the spring. I've been there in the spring and in the fall. I never been there in the winter.
Yeah. Definitely a different population though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When we came down here, I was like, oh, so they're
Yeah,
the diversity
the
is just
demographics.
different.
Yeah, the
Completely
demographics.
different.
Yeah, the demographics definitely change. It's kind of funny, right? Because as you then start moving over towards Indianapolis and these other places, then the demographics starts to change. So as you're going towards the east and Chicago and things like that.
Oh, did you stay up there?
Change even more. No. I mean, I've been blessed enough to travel this country enough to see plenty and have the opportunity to spend a lot of time. I'm originally from Angola, but I was Angola, New York, Washington, D.C., and DC is basically home. It's been home for was home for 30-something years, and then from DC to here. Wow. But while I was in DC, though, I was spending a lot of time in a lot of these other places. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've been around. That's good though.
Yeah, been around, man. But
cool.
you know, that's the life of an immigrant in America. You sometimes gotta do what you need to do in order to make sure that we're able not only to provide for self but also for our loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indeed. So let's kind of go into music. You leave Nigeria, arrive in the States. In what place how does music kind of enter your life?
Man, so it wasn't until we were in Houston, really, back like early 2010s.
Yeah.
When we made our way to Houston.
Yeah.
My dad's actually a minister.
Okay.
So he came down here to minister at church.
Got you. What denomination?
Presbyterian.
Okay.
But came down here, and I feel like most musicians, they have some sort of church background.
Right.
Especially the ones who play multiple instruments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we came down here, and our another common story, our drummer left. So we were drummerless for a little while.
Wow.
And so, I mean, one day I just sat down and tried to like kind of mimic what he was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. And then they came out. They're like, "Is that you playing?" I was just trying to, so that's where it started for me. Really, was drums. I was about like 11 at the time.
Yeah.
And from there, in middle school here in Texas, like you get to pick your fine arts, so you can do dance, you can do, you know. I chose band because I wanted to play trumpet.
Okay.
I wanted to be a trumpet player.
Ooh, that's a hard instrument.
It's a fun one though. I used to. I only knew 2 instruments. I knew that weren't like drum and piano and bass. I knew trumpet. I knew saxophone.
Right.
So I just picked between those 2 in my head.
Wow.
But then on the audition, they were like, "Oh no, your lips are too big for trumpet. Like you're not gonna. It's gonna be hard for you to get some of the high notes." I was like, at the time, I was like, "Okay, sure." And then they said, "We'll give you something that's similar to a trumpet."
Okay.
That's what they said. They said.
So what did you get? What did they give you?
It's an instrument called a euphonium.
Oh, okay.
Baritone.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
Like,
so on that one, you kind of just hit the boom, boom, boom.
no, that's the tuba, but it's still low brassy. Right. It's kind of, if you think of a trombone, trombone.
Oh yeah, got you.
So we would play the similar, like we're in a similar section, so we play similar music to them.
Got you.
Sort of like backbone music, but
okay,
that's the only instrument I was ever classically trained in. Everything else is just kind of interest.
Yeah. So you were able to read and
yeah,
and write
baritone. Yeah, I can read. Sight read.
Yeah.
I was like all state out here in Texas.
Oh,
yeah.
That's that dude. When you get all state, you playing for real. Now you part of the big boys league.
Man, I wish
folks know you at that point in time. I'll be like, yeah, we seen you on TV on Sunday.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I wish it was a more marketable instrument. You don't hear many people like, "Oh, we're looking for
but guess what though? That's probably your opportunity now to make that instrument even as more famous as it is, because you actually, as versed in music as you are, you have the opportunity to implement that instrument into all the genres of music that you're able to play, right?
Right.
And I mean that's kind of like the way things really get to go places, in my opinion. Yeah. But wow. So at that point you are in the US, you are playing the euphonium.
That's funny.
and you are going all say, see, because I'm gonna tell you right now, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna have to pull some classic like big band records or symphonies and sit down and be able to try to identify the euphonium.
Oh,
in it. Yeah,
I'll tell you exactly what it is. Yeah, yeah, man, that was. Yeah. I do miss big bands.
Yeah.
Like, now when I'm playing, usually it's in like a 4-piece band. There's a singer. But I miss like the big like orchestral
to have a whole orchestra behind you, where your parts are just really parts. It's like that everything comes together. It's kind of funny because in all honesty, that's something that I believe that should have been already maybe you know, I'm saying there should have been like I too should have been that person. One of us should have already kind of sat down and probably taken some of those big or some of our major urban hits and probably turned them into orchestral pieces.
You're talking like Afro,
like man. Afro something, right?
You might be onto something.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, man. Because in all honesty, it isn't like we lack the know-how. Isn't like we lack the resources. It's just I don't think we have thought that far. Yeah. Well, now that I said it, I think everybody.
You done.
Yeah, now I started the race. We like,
they were like, oh, he's onto something.
Yeah. Definitely, but no, that's something that maybe you and I even need to kind of seriously think about.
That's actually really
and
interesting.
Seriously put in real thoughts, because just imagine a big Afrobeat song really played by an orchestra, in which every single instrument is only really playing its part,
the part,
clean.
That
right?
could be dope.
Yeah, like, where the bell is just the bell. It's like it would sound different.
It'd be interesting. It's unique. Like I'm trying to think if there anything similar that I can think of, but
no, I don't think anyone.
Afro music isn't really big bandy.
No, it's always well, it's big band in the village, right? But it's
that's true,
big band with everybody's free.
Orchestral.
It's kind of like freestyling really, and going for people just doing as they feeling at the moment. It's a feel music, and that's probably why most people haven't gone that far. But anyway, we probably have the opportunity to do that. And let's kind of take our first break, man, because I think we need to take a look at some images of the place that you call studio, and some images that have anything to do with you, man. Let's go into our quick break. For those of you that have joined us, we are now tuned into Diaspora Central, and our guest today is Chuks, a music producer, studio owner, a very versatile instrumentalist. We'll be right back. And we are back. For those of you that have just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles, and our guest today is Chuks, a Houstonian, should I say, music producer, studio owner. Diaspora, stand up.
Always.
Because Nigeria today is in the building, and one of their best in Houston is definitely here to represent them. Chuks.
Yes, sir.
You sit down, start playing the drums. People look at you and they're like, well, it looks like you got something. Did you stick to the drums at that point in time, or when do you transition to other instruments?
Keys, yeah. So drums was the first. And then, like I said, started being classically trained on euphonium / baritone. About 2-3 years into that, I started we had a small 60 key keyboard at the house. Yeah. My mom used to play around, play some chords.
Do you remember the brand?
It's a Yamaha.
PSR?
I think it's PSR.
It's speakers?
It had its own onboard speakers.
Yeah. So it's
Yamaha.
probably a PSR.
It's still at the house.
Yeah.
If I go to my parents' house, it's still there. But so that keyboard, it has the songs on it. Like Twinkle Twinkle, all that.
Yeah.
So
that's a PSR.
Yeah.
A PSR something.
I think so. I think it's PSR 70 or something like that. Yeah. $100 keyboard, real but you hit play, and then you can play all the songs for release, all that. Yeah. So I started I would play the thing and then let it stop and then play along and then let it stop and play along.
Yeah.
So that's how I started learning songs on keyboard.
Oh, wow.
This was age like 11, 12.
Wow.
But not really. I'm just
So you basically self-taught on the keys.
yeah on for keyboard.
I guess
for keyboard.
Wow.
But in terms of music theory, like I've been trained and
right.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
For like
but I mean for
playing,
keys, playing keys.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's how I started with like just learning the songs on there. Hit play, stop, play like a section, and keep going like that. So even to this day, I know these strange like classical songs,
Right?
where I just play. That's where I started.
Because of that, yeah. So basically, your introduction is really like that I guess that's and those keyboards had sequencers on them.
They did.
Where you could do these little tiny sequences of like what about the 30 seconds or 15 seconds each?
It's the bars, you go bar by bar. Yeah, 8 seconds, 16 seconds. They had their own mixes.
Wow.
There was like this thing called style mode.
Yeah, where you select what style of music it is,
like
right? So that it would break. It would. I remember. Yeah, those were. I guess there should be a name. What are those pattern sequencers?
Patterns. Yep.
Yeah.
And then just loop the pattern. And you could hit a chord and then it would play that chord over the pattern. Yeah. Yeah, man. I used to, hours. I'm talking
doing
hours
that.
and hours and hours. Like
you had no friends.
me and my keyboard just hanging out, man. Just yeah.
But that's how you normally get to master something. But eventually you kind of started growing. I mean, of course, just based on what we see you do now. I mean, you kind of evolved from that pretty fast. And eventually, when does Chuks decides that, you know what, I need to kind of dig even deeper into the studio stuff and things of that sort?
So that was later, much later. For most of my time early on was more live things. And then obviously still at a point I transitioned from drums to keyboard for the church.
Yeah.
So, and then from then on it was just kind of keyboard and then, the stuff I was doing in school with the euphonium. Gotcha. Were really the main two. And then during college is when I started to, I in my dorm housing, there was a guy, his name was, he goes by Chromo Nietzsche.
Okay.
Into production. And it was interesting to me because he like would take sounds. Like he wasn't, masterful on any one instrument, but, he knew a little bit of guitar, knew a little bit of, keyboard, all this and that, and kind of put it together and made these really interesting, like soundscapes, different sounding type music. Okay. So from there, I was like, oh, so you can like, I don't have to just play something live, and that's not the only way. There are other ways. Yeah. So that's when I started to really look into like DAWs and production and just learning about like, how do you shape sound? Yeah. Beyond just the live. So how do you take an idea in your head and then put it somewhere where it could basically live forever? Right. Yeah. Live performance is only in that performance. Indeed. Obviously now you have like Instagrams and you have video. Oh yeah. But like something that you really create, almost like a poet would write something. That's when it really started for me. So that was age like 19. Wow. Yeah.
So you already in college at that point.
At that point, yep.
Yeah. Now, what schools did you go to? Let's kind of start on elementary school.
From elementary,
yeah.
I don't. In Michigan, like I don't remember the name of the school, just the teachers.
Okay. Do you remember some of the teachers?
Yeah.
Which ones were more influential that you still remember them today?
Man,
give us some names.
There's this lady named Ms. Votro. I wonder if she's still there. Probably not. I was really into also like aside from the music stuff, I was really a STEM guy. Okay. Math, sciences. So Votro was math teacher. Mr. Shivler was a math teacher of mine I was a fan of in like fourth grade. And then here, so this is end of elementary school, fifth grade. Yeah. There's a guy named Mr. B. Okay. I think his real last name is Bradshaw. My music teacher. Fifth grade. Okay. What school? Man. Do you remember the name of that school? Yeah. Actually, in Indiana, I went to Brentwood Elementary here, Barbara Jordan. Okay. Barbara Jordan Elementary for 1 year. And he wrote the school song.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like, he was You know, a black guy,
Yeah.
first black teacher I think I'd ever had because I just moved from I just moved from Indiana. And it was the first black teacher, and it was a music guy. I thought he was the coolest guy ever. I joined the choir like because he was like trying to recruit. I was like, I don't even sing, but joined the choir. Like just I thought he was so cool.
Right. And what was his name again?
Mr. B. That's
Mr.
what we
B.
called him. I think his real last name was Bradshaw, but
okay,
could be lying.
Yeah. So Mr. B.
Mr. V, man. That's when he played keyboard. But man, I was like, yeah, this guy right here. Yeah. He's a cool cat. Like I was like this guy right here. He's got something going on.
You had found somebody that could probably help you navigate where you were trying to go.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay, this keyboard thing really interested in it.
Yeah. Like, and then when you, of course, high school and college, who were the influences there?
Yeah, so high school here, I went to George Bush High School out in the Fort Bend area.
Okay.
And I mean, a lot of influences from teachers to students, but one of my main influences was actually my track coach.
Okay.
I did track and field.
Oh, wow.
In high school and college.
So you're a runner?
Jumper. In high school, I was a runner because everybody was a runner.
Yeah, you know that a lot of firstborns are that because they don't have anybody to defend them, so they.
So you gotta run.
You gotta run. You gotta know how to run.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, but go on.
You know, I never thought of that, but now I'm gonna go be like, oh, maybe.
Man, I'm telling you right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When you don't have anyone to defend you, you better know how
Learn how to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
So high school.
Yeah, Coach Shannon Rideout.
Yeah.
Rideout, man. That guy. He believed in he was I think outside of the coaching, he taught speech and debate.
Okay.
But he was just very good orator, very good at inspiring. Like he had me running. I hate long distance running. Right. But I did a cross country for 1 year to condition because he convinced us all. He was like, "Hey, this will get you, you know,
we'll
give a different level.
Yeah, we'll give you the lungs. Yeah."
Yep. And so if Coach Rideout said it was going to be good for you, you did it.
You did.
That's just the type of respect that. And he touched a lot of people at that school. Yeah. A lot of people. Wow. But yeah, he was really one of those who instilled in you that, hey, you're your only, everything is here in terms of limitation.
There you go.
You know, you can, if you put your mind to something and you don't let what you shouldn't be able to do stop you. Yeah. Man, don't sky's the limit.
Yeah, don't allow your current situation to determine your full potential. Yep. Yeah. Wow. There's always one that will be the one that will actually unlock that secret box, and once they do, it's like, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah. We all have kind of had one of those, but you know what? We're gonna go into another quick break because we gotta look at some more images of you. Definitely. If we had some images of you running and jumping and all that, would have been real cool.
Oh, I had to dig in the archives for that.
Yeah, no, but it's cool though because in all honesty, man, I think you artistically you are a blessed individual, and that's what we have you here for, is really today to kind of talk about art, and hopefully inspire somebody else that may have been or may be in a position similar to yours, right? To understand that, you know what, it's not just me. There are the people who have also gone through it. So let's go ahead and take this quick break and we'll be right back. Yeah. And you know that they ain't home. Got alley cats who's totally stressed. They jeans with them neck. They pull up on you in traffic and tell you cheese before they blast. I get joy from basking in your glorious rays. Hey sister, I know it's been a long time since you
been treated like you're equal. Way too many people.
We are back. For those of you that have just joined us, you are now tuned into Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles, and our guest today is Chuks, a music producer, and we just found out that he's also a runner and a jumper.
That's funny.
Yeah, a multi-instrumentalist. So Chuks, music, at what point do you turn back to African music? Because after all, you're going to school in America.
Mm-hmm.
You raised in America. What was the first American music that you really kind of got into? I mean, of course, you mentioned church, but aside from church music, I mean, what were you playing? Were you playing like traditional gospel? Were you just playing church hymns?
Right.
What exactly were you into?
So I was really into actually gospel music. The church, like I mentioned, the church I grew up in was Presbyterian, so there's a lot of hymns, which I actually like those too. There's a lot of movements in hymns that they're very fundamentally sound. Hymns are in terms of closing, closures, and cadences, and it's very like the amen thing.
Right.
It's very like very fundamental.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are actually inspired from things like hymns and old school like classical type things.
Yeah.
But I was really big into gospel music because gospel music was like the I don't want to say the jazz or the blues of church music, but it's
the
more
foundation. It's I mean, especially, I don't know, and I understand what you're kind of saying, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. It's almost like you triggered something. Yeah, because I feel the same way. There's like this foundation that I think it's cultural and may even be part of the DNA. I don't know exactly what it is, because I can share with you my experience. When I came to America, the first church that I went to was a United Methodist church, and that church was an African American church in a self-sufficient African American community. And these guys could play.
Oh man.
And was a community of professors and engineers, a lot of most of them military retirees.
Where at?
In Maryland, Indian Head, Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, in close to Bryan's Road. And that sound had something that caught me. It caught me so bad to the point that we had just moved, and the piano at the house hadn't even been tuned. So I don't even think he ever got tuned. I basically learned how to play that out-of-tune piano.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To the point that later on, when I start to play the keyboards, I really have to kind of try to adapt, because the keys are not even... And it was so funny, because remember, when the piano is out of tune, sometimes you have you have a C, and then next thing you know will be another C, and then you only have it's like the notes go out of place. And I had that memorized. I mean, like to where I needed to go get the notes. And when I really started playing with sequencers, with the PSR, I think the PSR 300 and something was the first one. I think it was a 360 if I'm not mistaken, or a 375, I'm not sure. But anyway, it was a Yamaha PSR, the first keyboard. It belonged to a friend of mine named Jesse. He was really a saxophone player, but he had a keyboard. So he ended up leaving the keyboard at my house, and because he lived across the street. And that's how I started to learn how to sequence. Then then I graduated from that smaller PSR into a bigger PSR from my friend Dusty. Now Dusty is that's a keys player. That guy grew up playing keys. He was already like hanging around with guys that did music and stuff like that. So to me, it became like, okay, let me learn what he knows.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I think that learning how to sequence made me a lazy player. So I really didn't get myself into learning how to play. I would just sequence the part and move on to the next thing.
Right.
And learning how to produce made me even a lazier everything because then I knew that all I need to do is get a rough draft, and then I'm calling the guys who actually play.
And then they do it.
Yeah, but while I'm doing all this scientifically, I'm doing it naturally, not scientifically thinking that this is what it's actually called production. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not until years later that I'm like, when I'm really hanging out with guys who do this for real, that I'm like, oh snap! So I was really on to something here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were saying about the soul of church music.
Oh yeah, no, and it's funny because that DMV area, Maryland, Virginia, like there's a very very well known that a lot of the it has its own specific sound.
Oh yeah, go music.
And and a lot of the pianists out of there, man. There's some
man.
cool cats.
They're all caught on progressions and stuff like that.
Oh,
and,
some cool cats.
I mean, you find guys who got mad left hands and that really make you wonder, like, dude, come on, where is the head of that hand that's got a brain?
That's got a brain of its own.
Because it's almost like the guy, one person playing. Man, I used to admire this guy that played the organ at our church, Mr. Kane. And his wife, who was actually my piano teacher, Mrs. Kane. This man was using both hands and feet.
Yep. Organ players are different. That's a different level. They're on a completely different level.
I was like, man, I sometimes used to go in and just sit on the organ and look at the shape of the keys on for the feet,
pedals,
right? The pedals, right? And then it was just too busy for me.
Oh, it takes that's next level there. Where you're using every single corner of your brain, in my opinion, because you're playing the bass notes, you're playing the melody, you're playing the harmony. Man.
Yeah.
Organ players, respect.
No, definitely. And it's an art that, in my opinion, is starting to be lost. Or am I wrong?
Man, so it's true. I think you don't see as many younger. Right. So a lot of younger folks, the keys are just more accessible.
Yeah.
You don't, unless you obviously. Where do you get organs really? Organs are really just at churches.
Now, aside from churches who already have them,
churches don't buy
organs like anymore, right?
No, so you have to be specifically in that space where you have a church that already has an organ, or you have interest in the organ, or you're like, but that's, it's true.
Yeah,
folks like one of my favorite keyboardists, Corey Henry.
Okay,
there's videos of him playing organ at like 3-4 years old, and that's where it starts. Like, it's because he was in the church with with an old, probably Southern Baptist like feel. His mother was a singer, like, and there was an organ there, and he just tinkered it around. Before you know it, you become Corey Henry. Corey Henry's like one of the most acclaimed, like, crazy guy on organ and on the keyboard. But if you don't have that introduction, people don't just go to school. Like, I want to learn the organ. No, you want to learn the keyboard. Maybe
you want to learn,
the bass, maybe guitar, maybe.
Yeah, I want to learn. I want to learn how to play the piano, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But let's move on. We were in high school.
It was Coach Rideout. Shannon Rideout.
Coach Rideout.
Yeah, that was high school.
Yeah. So now in college, where did you go to college?
Rice University.
You a Rice graduate?
Yeah, man.
Down
the street. Down the street. Down the street.
No, that's not a small league school.
I try to keep
you
it
really
low
keeping
key.
it low.
Keep it low key.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Rice is big. That's big league.
Oh, That's what they try to tell you so they can take your money. So they can justify the price tag. Yeah.
Yeah. But so you at Rice, you also, that's where you basically get into production.
Yeah. So Rice is where a lot of, that's where music really like took into the more of the role that I'm in now in terms of the style of music.
Yeah.
In high school, like I listened to a lot of jazz, listened to a lot of Afro beats, listened to a lot of funk music, a lot of gospel, but didn't really have opportunities to play that style of music just because. Yeah. I mean, where there's a little bit of jazz, like in high school, but I mean, I wasn't privy to like spots where I could go play like funk style music or Afrobeat style music, or even listen to it, even here in Houston. Yeah. So, but in college, that's where like, I mean, at this point you have it's like a, I mean, how do you even say hodgepodge? It's like it's like a collection of people from
a
all
community,
over.
a community
all
of
over the place.
a community of your peers.
Yeah. And so it's creatives from the north, from outside of the country, from you know, here in Texas, from California, like creatives from everywhere kind of came together, and it's a lot easier to find people who are more interested in what you're interested in. So I started playing in the band there in college and started just playing. I just played as much as I could.
Did you guys name the band?
Fresh Jollof. Fresh Jollof, yeah.
So Jollof like rice.
Like the rice, yeah.
Why Jollof? Because you had a lot of ingredients.
I don't know. I think we were just jamming one day and the name, like we didn't have a name for it. And, you know, it was 3 Nigerian guys, 1 Cameroonian. Okay. A lot of what we played was real jazzy, but also like Afro.
Got you. Some sort of Afro jazz.
Yeah. And Afro jazz, Afro funk. And then just traditional Fela Kuti, like a lot of just like covers, and we played a good number of shows. Okay. There. But that's when I really started to the Afro. That's when I really started to like get into that more, because we had a African Students Association. Yeah. So again, a lot of just similar-minded, similar background people who also loved Afro type music. Yeah. You know, so you know they had like their dance showcases and all this and that. And I was really more immersed in the culture, as in like African culture, Nigerian culture, Ghanaian, East African, like. That's where the appreciation for the culture in general, and then obviously through music as well. Yeah,
at that point you're transcending what used to be your regular
my own bubble
circle, right?
Got bigger, yeah.
And that eventually brings you to the big stage that is now Afro Sounds.
Oh man, yep. Yeah. The big stage steadily growing. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the conception of that, the idea of what it is, and what is it that you believe that musicians can actually benefit from that stage.
Yeah. So to me, Afro Sounds is a space for both the musician, the listener, and really it's a space for both the musician and the listener. Yeah. For the musician, obviously, you know, you're getting to share your craft to an audience who is hopefully perceptive, because the folks who are going there are usually people who are curious. It really stemmed from, we're in Houston, there's so much African culture in Houston. Yeah. Everywhere you look, Nigerian stores, you know, Nigerian restaurants, Ethiopian restaurants, things like people don't realize until you go elsewhere, it's not normal to have that much like
that diversity around.
I mean, you might like places like DC, maybe Atlanta.
Yeah, DC, Atlanta, New York. You kind of find it, but
but it's not in Michigan. We had to drive like an hour and a half to go get some traditional like Nigerian food. No, if you maybe like make the drive to Detroit. But anyways, so here it's everywhere. And it's represented everywhere in the restaurants, but I was having a conversation with one with the owner of the library.
Yeah, the executive director. Debo Fularancho.
Yeah. Conversation with him, and also just with some musician friends of mine. Like, hey, we can like crazy enough, there's not really a live music space for not just Afro beats specifically, but just Afro inspired music, which could be, I mean, at that point, pop, rap, poetry, you know, a lot of things are from that root of the mother continent there. So we're like, man, just I feel like there's a hunger for that here in Houston, because there's people even outside the diaspora who are interested in, especially now, Afrobeats is kind of blossoming with your Burna Boys and your your Wizkids, and so Afrobeats is becoming more, I would say, mainstream. And there's interest. Like you drive down the street, you look in the car, and next thing you're like, oh, this Middle Eastern person here jamming Burna Boy, like it's to that point where there's really a hunger for it. So that's where it really came from. Is, hey, we have this audience. Let's see if we can provide a space to where also if somebody's coming from outside, you have a Tiwa Savage coming into town, like she knows, hey, if I want an audience that will be receptive,
that digs the essence of what I do,
what I'm doing, she can stop by Afro Sound, she can, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what we're building towards, is this space that you're gonna get one, good music if you're, or good art, because it goes beyond music, good art if you're the viewer, but also you're going to have a space to where like people will really be receptive and open and enjoying what you have to provide if you're on the artist side or the musician side. So that's the heart and soul of it all in my mind.
So basically a space where you can not only explore your artistry, but also the audience can actually experience the essence of what your artistry is. And that is quite shown, because I mean you have a band that is already very multi-diverse. You have let's go into some of the musicians that are part of the house band. You have Pablo, right? Guitar player. You have Eric, bass player. Of course, it's you on the keys. You also have Sam
both on the other keyboards keys, sometimes,
right? And I honestly believe that idea was a very good idea, because it's funny, you having that conversation with Debo, and I was having a similar conversation with him on the other end. So I'm sure that at one point he had to be like, ding, ding, ding.
Make it. The lines.
It was just like,
it
was just like it made, because I felt the same way. I had that conversation initially when I got to Houston about maybe 3 years ago, so with a friend of mine named Tony. And in all honesty, Tony Watson, and I think that Tony should at some point really come in to even just to hang with you guys, because he's another one of those guys who really's got skills, but he kind of like lays low, like he comes from one of those families in which his cousins, and they're all musicians. These are guys who have already mastered their craft, and they can do something,
right?
But they got their careers going on another route. So, but if you put them in that element, they can definitely deliver something. So let's talk about Afro Sounds. Let's continue to let's get the schedule. Let's get the schedule for Afro Sounds. We basically looking at every last Thursday of the month.
Last Thursday of the month.
And the show normally starts at
usually show doors open around 7. We usually try to get the first artist there latest 7:30.
Okay.
And it's usually an hour and 15-minute show, so about 8:45 the last artist is kind of rounding up.
So we're looking basically at a 2-hour show.
7 to 9 is the time frame.
Right.
That's what we'll say, 7 to 9.
And that's aside from musicians, of course, you also take in
poets. Obviously, rap is a form of music, but sometimes they like to be separated from the singers. Rap.
Lyricists, let's put it this way, right?
Lyricists, but also if you play an instrument, right?
Instrumentalist.
Like we've had some really, really like moving performances from drum groups.
Yeah.
So definitely that dance.
Yeah.
There's the space isn't massive,
Right.
but you can. I mean, if you're a dancer and you just want to do like some
can do something.
some dance. That's if you want to do on the spot art. So there, those
There you
folks
go.
who like
Yeah,
draw things upside down
right on
and
the
then
spot.
that's, so the space is any art form that you feel like is something that you can put out there.
Yeah.
And also captures the essence of just what art is.
Yeah.
And where it originates from, which
Yeah.
I really feel like is the motherland. But
It's really an Afro-Soul experience. That is always kind of been my field, but of course I could probably be biased, right? But it's really an Afro-Soul experience. We appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule, man, to come and hang out with us. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Any shout outs that you would like to give before we
close it out? Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks again for having me. Like I
Yeah.
said, like I know,
Thank you.
I see, you're really doing some, really shedding light into some really interesting lives.
Thank you.
In terms of the guests you have on this show.
Thank you.
I've seen producers, like really cool producers, local artists who are, kind of getting off the ground, but have their own thing going, and also
you.
just well-established artists. So you really span the range. It's really I like the show. So first, shout out to my man Gil here for having me.
Thank you, sir.
For
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you.
And then shout out to Deba and the whole Afro Sounds crew, the instrumentalist that you
Thank
mentioned.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna grow this thing, and it's going to be we're
No,
already it's already there. Like you already see the love for it, and
there's that.
the positive feedback from the people who come.
There's definitely room for growth, and there's definitely a healthy seed in the ground. It's a beautiful experience. That's the only thing that I can honestly say. It's the one place that will actually make you feel not only as someone who's actually looking at a show, but someone who is part of the show. I guess from an audience perspective and from a musician's perspective also, because at one point it's almost like you're really part of the audience, but you also a musician. It's kind of funny. It's a funny experience. You really just gotta come out and check it out. You gotta come out and see it, and which is the last Thursdays of every month.
So we have one coming up the 28th of this month, April. And then last shameless plug.
Go on.
I have a it's kind of like a street performing group.
Okay.
The Instagram is Street Tunes.
Okay.
With one T, STREE, TUNES, HTX. And we're all over the place in parks. Sometimes we do it in venues, but that's another kind of thing that piqued my interest.
Got you.
Is just performing, like, again, making Houston, more artsy. You go to New York and you see folks in the subways and stuff like that. So that's where that kind of originated from. But
so let me kind of ask you this question. So basically, what you're saying is you guys just go to a park and decide, what we're gonna play here today, and and you guys just pull up and
play. We have our permit for street performing.
Nice.
It's really, that's another thing. People really appreciate surprise live music.
Right.
Herman Park, Graffiti Park. Buffalo Bayou, all over the place. So,
so you guys, that's actually, man, you guys gotta, that's
It's
that's a show.
shows.
That's a
It's
show in
live
itself.
shows. Yep. So that's another one.
You should have sent me an invitation. I may come out and start coming out to your shows to kind of film, because I think I like stuff like that. I like to document stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I can show you some kind of off this, but
yeah.
We've it's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really dope.
Keep me posted, because I honestly think that we would like to capture some images of that kind of stuff, because that's really good stuff. And I almost lost my train of thought. I was actually gonna go into one direction with the following. Out of the artists that you have already had on Afro Sounds, which there were really many, and very, very good ones. Very diverse, also.
Right.
In your opinion, as a producer, would you see that probably creating, I guess, what would probably become this one yearly body of work that may be like an Afro Sounds album?
Oh, like a showcase
That would
album?
that would include, let's say, a version of the live music that they have actually done at Afro Sounds in an album produced by you.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a concept that would be really cool. Actually, I have a playlist of obviously their existing music
Right.
called Afro Sounds on Spotify, but yeah, it could be making live arrangements, like having a Afro Sounds 2022 Volume 1, right.
Yeah.
2023. That could be something cool.
Because I honestly think that and that also would kind of give I think the viewers, the audience, and the musicians themselves something to also look forward at the end of the year, right?
Yeah,
to know kind of like, okay, let's figure out which one of my performances actually makes it and I mean, today we say album, not just music, because when we say album today, we're talking about a whole visual package included into the whole thing. So that's something that we can definitely develop a bit more, right?
For sure.
And really get to where we need to get. I think we just got the cat out of the bag on the air, so
yeah.
If we don't move fast, somebody's gonna.
I'm telling you, and this orchestra thing you brought up too, before you know it.
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
But that's all good stuff, though, man. We appreciate you coming through.
Yes, sir.
It's been a great pleasure, man. Listen, Diaspora Central is home for you. We're really here to showcase diaspora culture and talent, and that's what we do, man.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you for coming through. We appreciate you for doing Afro Sounds. And let me do one thing before I let us go, which is an accolade. One of the things that I admired about you, okay, when I met you, is the fact that you never looked at anything like an impossible challenge. Regardless of what the issue was, you were always like, okay, what are we trying to get done? Are we trying to get done this? Okay, I don't have this. I have up to here. Or someone would say, okay, I have a speaker, or I have a stand.
Mm-hmm.
I have a microphone, or I have a cable. I have a mixer, or I have an instrument. That in itself is what makes communities really foster.
Mm-hmm.
And for that alone, sir, I consider you a leader or a pillar in the musicians diaspora community.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Especially here in Houston.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking time to come out here, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And to all those of you that joined us in this program, one thing to take in mind and to remember from this point on is the following. Follow your heart. Do to others as you would like done unto you.
Really gotta be my boyfriend. I just wanna know your name and maybe sometime we can hang out, just you.